Hello, core artisans. My name is Shonda, and welcome to my channel, Under the Needle Quilting and Crafts. So, I just got my, well, not just, it came yesterday actually, but I got my November Open Gate Quilt subscription box. Looks a little bit different this month because I got my calendar. So I didn't recognize it. I didn't even notice it. But when I did my 12 days of quilting, when I accidentally got a 2024 calendar and I didn't even notice it. And I already have the 2024 calendar from last year's box and I still didn't notice it. You guys pointed it out to me in the comments and Monique noticed it. So she sent me the calendar. So she sent the calendar with box. So it doesn't have like my name and stuff on it. But this is what our box looks like. I still haven't gotten done the project from last month's box. It was this right here. I still have it out because I wanna make it. It's the Christmas tree applique kind of wall hanging thing. So I still want to do that, but I kind of got sidetracked by the scissor holder in the 12 days of Christmas. Oh, sorry, 12 days of quilting box. I kind of got sidetracked by that project and I wanted to make that first. I love this thing. I love this thing. And it was so easy to put together. And the only thing you had to sew on was, well, I mean, you had to sew on the button, but the Velcro is adhesive backed. So I like this little thing. I think I might make a couple more of these. Yeah. And honestly, these scissors need a cover because they are sharp. I've already cut myself on them. I was snipping a piece of yarn, you know, like, and my finger got in the way and the tip of the scissor just nipped a little nip on my finger there. And that sucker hurt. Here it is. I probably can't see it anymore, but it's right there. Anyway, so I like this little holder. I really do. So I'll put these back in here. I don't think it matters which way they go in, but yes, I got sidetracked by that. So that's the only thing that I've sewn, but yeah, that was, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed putting that together. Everything was already pre-cut. I didn't have to cut anything. Like I literally just fused the fleece batting to one of the squares, then put the squares right side together, sewed around them, flipped it open, you know, made a couple of, drew a couple of lines, I sewed on the drawn lines and then, you know, folded it together, sewed one final seam, sewed that button on real quick, and I used the thread that I got in a prior Open Gate Quilt subscription box. Because I wanted to use the red thread, threw a little piece of Velcro on there. I mean, it was such a quick project. It was so quick. So I kind of got sidetracked by that. But I do still want to make this here, especially since it is currently Christmas time. So I want to go ahead and make it. So I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it one day this week. I have 2 days of PTO this week and I'm going to make that, my little tree. And that way I can display it for Christmas. Okay, so this is the Open Gate Quilt subscription box. The way this works, it's a monthly subscription. It's $42 a month plus any applicable tax and shipping, right? Every month you get a smaller project, which is generally pre-cut, so you don't have to do any cutting. Like you can just start. And then there's a larger project. And if you are newer, Monique does do a monthly, she does a monthly, she does a tutorial to kind of walk you through some of the construction. I'm going to be making the small project immediately because what we have here is this little drawstring gift bag. Now, I've been struggling. I don't think that I'm going to make any gifts this year for my kids' teachers because I just could not figure out what to do. I couldn't figure out what to make. I was going to make bowl cozies, but I just don't feel like it. And I don't want to put that pressure on myself. And, I don't have to do it every year. Every other year is just fine. My son has one more year in that high school next year. So he's a junior this year. So he'll be there next year. I'll send something next year. And my stepdaughter, she has one more year in her school as well, because she is, don't get me to lying, I can barely remember the children that I birthed. So it's hard for me to remember one that I didn't. No, she is in 8th grade. I take it back. So this is her last year in that school, but I don't think I'm going to be sending. I just don't want to. Like last year, I didn't plan it. It just kind of happened organically. And I'm not up to it. Now I do still have some tissue holders that I made last year, and she does have different teachers, so I can send those, and I might, because I just saw this gift bag, and maybe if I did a little homemade gift bag, right, and then put a little tissue holder in there, maybe that's enough. I don't know. I don't want to put pressure on myself, but I'm going to be making this immediately. I've been wanting to make, I don't know why I haven't, but I've been wanting to do this for a while. I just recently saw a pattern where the gift bags are they look like Santa. And it was a pattern on sale on buyannies.com. They had all their patterns were 75% off. So I got the pattern for $2. So yeah, I did. So yeah, I do want to make this. I'm going to make this right away. Probably on Tuesday. I'll probably make both of these on the same day. Oh, I'm definitely using this. So this is our notion this month. It's the Stay Put pedal pad. Now, I keep these. I always have something, and I've never used this particular one. I haven't used this particular one, but or either that or they've changed it. I don't know. I remember using one similar to this, but mine was, I don't remember. But the one I'm using now, well, I can't really, the one I'm using now sticks to the ground, it actually velcros to the ground. So hold on. So I'm using this one. It's a mess because it's all linty down there. So I'm using this one. But the thing is that it's not big enough, because once I changed my sewing machine, now I have I have a gigantic pedal. It's huge. And then it has a little side pedal next to it. Get it. See? And so my little mat isn't big enough. It's not big enough to fit it. And it's not quite as grippy as I expected it to be. My thing still slides, and I don't know if it slides because this is too small, but it's almost like I feel like this is the material that I would want my pedal to be on. This feels like Velcro, right? It feels like Velcro. That's exactly what it feels like. And my pedal still slides. But even before I got the bigger machine, even when I had my smaller machine, my pedal still always slid. And so maybe this will work better, or maybe I can put these together, put them, use them in tandem, and maybe I won't have to constantly be, fishing my pedal out, from underneath my sewing space. Happy to see this. Love it. This is our big project. Look at this. It's called Goldenrod. It is clearly some type of table runner. It's 17 by 48, and it is gorgeous. That is pretty. I think it keeps focusing on my hand. instead of trying to focus on the project. It could be the glare from the packaging. That is stunning. I definitely want to make this. There's so many things I want to make. It's getting difficult to pick. This is our fabric pack. Our fabric line, this is Oak and Maple by Henry Glass Fabrics. And the drawstring gift bag, that fabric is by, the line is called Moose Lodge for Henry Glass Fabrics. It's pretty. I love this print right here. Let's look at this puppy. Okay, so wall hanging. Goldenrod wall hanging. But you know, this is quilting. Any wall hanging can be a table topper. And vice versa. So we have 3 pieces that are 6 by 11.5. We have a piece that's 6 by 34. We have a 3-inch by width of fabric strip. We have a 4.5 by 14-inch strip. This is a lot of fabric in here. We have 13-inch by width of fabric, 11.5 by width of fabric, 10 by width of fabric. It's quite a bit of fabric in here. And then all you need for your backing is a 21-inch by 54-inch strip. So I guess if you had a yard, could you make that work? Yeah, if you had a yard, you could piece it together. You could make that work if you had 1 yard. I mean, as long as you're quilting it yourself, right? Because if you're quilting it yourself, you don't need 4 inches of space, of clearance around the entire project. I'm going to make this one just as is. I know sometimes I'll make the pattern, but I'll source my own fabric. But I want to make this one just like as it is. I want to make it just like that. I'm going to put that in my hallway. I love this. Okay. And then, of course, we have our thread that we get every month. And it's beige, of course, so it matches our project. And our little bonus this month is this fat quarter. The line is Still Life by P&J. P&B Textiles. Look at this. I like this. This was like the first thing I saw when I opened the box. I'm going to have to do something with this. I don't know what that something is going to be, but this fabric will look really nice in my living room. And so I have to figure out something to make with a fat quarter. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll just make some kind of little decorative bowl, little decorative basket, something. I don't know, but I like this. Okay. All right, so before I just want to recap, and then I'll show you the add-on fat quarter bundle that you can add on for, oh, there's a sale? Sorry, I'm getting, so you get 4 fat quarters in a pattern, and you can add that on for $12 a month. And does she still do the backing too? Let's see. Yeah, for $12 a month, you can add backing for the large project as well. Okay. So apparently there's going to be a sale. They're going to do it on YouTube Live. They're having it says huge after Christmas sale. December 26th at 7 p.m. Central. They're going to have great prices on fabric, notions, and kits. Okay. I'm sorry. All right, so this month's Fat Quarter Pack, who made this? What's the fabric line on this? Elysium by Clothworks. I love that name. There was a movie called Elysium. I think Tom Hanks was in it. It was kind of like sci-fi-ish, but I always liked that name, Elysium. Like, if I ever had a cat, I'd name it Elysium, but I'll never have a cat because I'm allergic to cats. But I think Elysium is a good cat name for some reason. I don't know. I've always thought that. But these are our fabrics. I love a good pink and black. I have a pink and black quilt that I made for my daughter that she didn't like. Actually, is this... No, it's definitely black. I've actually made two pink and black quilts. The first one was for my daughter. It's all pink and black, and I thought she would love it, and she didn't. And the second one was a breast cancer quilt for my aunt. I want to show it to you guys. Let's see. Hold on. All right. So this is the quilt I made for my daughter. It was just squares. I set it on point, but I wanted to make it because this was some of the oldest fabric that I owned. Because back in like 2001, back in 2001, is that when it, no, it was after that. No. About 05, 06, 07, around that time. It was before I had my last child. My son was born in 07. So I had went, I think, to like Walmart and Joann's, and I had found all this pink fabric, and I wanted to make a quilt for my oldest daughter using that pink fabric. Well, I didn't make it very far because once the baby was born, I didn't have time to really do a lot of sewing. I had a full-time job and 3 children, one of whom was an infant. And when I did have time to sew, I didn't have like a dedicated space to put, like, to have things. So I had to put everything away, and then I had to drag it all out, you know, and sit at the kitchen table and maybe get to work for an hour, hour and a half with kids bothering me, right? As children do. And it wasn't always a bother, but like sometimes they'd be with me and they would sit around the table and kind of watch me. I have actually some fond memories about that, but you can't really focus and get into your groove. You know, you're just kind of, you're being a mom and your focus is there. And so I didn't really get to do much. And so I'd have to put everything away, and I just got tired of pulling everything out and putting it back and pulling everything out and putting it back. So the quilt never got made, but I still had all that pink fabric. So I used it and I made that quilt. And then I still had some of that pink fabric left. So I made this pink ribbon quilt for breast cancer awareness for my aunt. And then that pretty much used up the rest of the pink and black. So I love me a good pink and black quilt. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with these yet. But I never know. I never know. They'll go in the stash for a bit until I figure it out. Elysium. Elysium. I don't know. I just love that. Elysium. I'm just weird. I've always liked that name. I don't know why. All right. So quick recap, because I was supposed to recap before I showed those fat quarters, but I got sidetracked by the sale. I will not be buying anything. I might tune in, but I will not be buying anything. I'm working really, really hard. I've worked really hard this year to not buy as much. Have I still purchased? Yes, I have. But nowhere near as much. I've actually probably bought more yarn than I have fabric this year. If you don't count the subscriptions, because they don't count. Okay? The subs don't count. And QuiltCon doesn't count either. Okay? It doesn't count. I'm so ridiculous. And so the pattern, hold on. The pattern is called Check It Out. Oh, I like this. It looks like we make 2 blocks. You can see there's this block here that has like the squares in the middle and the border. And you can tell we've got some snowballed corners over there. And then we have this box here that's just the squares. I mean, this block here that's just the squares. And then you just alternate those. And then it looks like we even do a little bit here. We add some sashing strips on the side here to make to finish our star points for this block. So yeah, I like this one. Are we just sewing the squares together, or is there any strip piecing involved here? Let's see. No, we're just sewing together squares. So this would be a good leader ender project for, like, if you're working on something. Well, of course you can always do any project by itself, but something like this would be a good leader ender project. And if you don't know what that is, it's like, I know what it is, but basically a lot of times with some machines, when you first start sewing, that thread kind of gets a little unruly on the underside of your project. And so what people will do is they will use a leader to kind of get that unruly thread out of the way before they then put in their pieces for their actual project, right? And then they will end doing the same thing to save thread. So that way you're not constantly cutting your thread and restarting, because that uses more thread than just putting a scrap through the machine. Well, what some people do, instead of using a scrap as a leader and a scrap as an ender, is they'll have a whole separate project. And I've actually done this with squares just like this. Of course, I didn't finish it, but they were like, I don't know where I got all the squares from. I think they were like 2.5-inch squares. And so, and I got them, I don't know, probably like eBay or Amazon, who knows, but I ended up with all of these 2.5-inch squares. And so I just fed them through the machine as my leader ender. Where's that thing? Hold on. I don't know why I can't do an unboxing without digressing, but here we are. So I started with the individual squares, right? And then I sewed them into pairs of 2. You can see these aren't even pressed, right? I sewed these into pairs of 2. And then once I had them all in pairs of 2, then I put them up, you know, the ones I was doing, and then I sewed 4 patches. And you can see how the thread is unruly? Can you see that? It's unruly under there, and it creates a bump under your project. And so you do your leader ender to prevent that. Now, I stopped on this because I don't like this fabric. So, like, I mean, I'm spending my time. I think it's still fine for a leader ender. I could still use it for that, but I just didn't really enjoy it, I guess. So I stopped, and I started doing other projects as leader enders, but this is where I started. This is what I started with. But I've got quite a few 4 patches made. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it up under my sewing machine and I'll go back to using it as leaders and enders. But I do notice that my my newer machine, because my old machine bit the dust in a terrible way, just splat on the concrete. And my replacement is a lot better with those initial stitches. It doesn't have that same kind of little rat's nest underneath. It does a better job. And so maybe that's kind of why, that's another reason why I kind of abandoned the whole leader ender thing. But here nor there. All right, let's recap this box because I am long-winded. I'm sorry. So we have our small project, which I'm going to make immediately. I will probably be making both of these projects on Tuesday because I have a PTO day from work. So I'll be making the project from last month's box. And I will be making the gift bag from this month's box, the December box. So just go ahead and set that aside. We have our Notion, which I am happy to have here. This is the Stay Put Pedal Pad Gypsy Quilter. Love it. Need it. And maybe it'll make me, because I gotta, if nothing else, it's gonna make me clean the floor, right? Because you can't put a fresh mat down onto a linty floor. And mine is nice and dusty and linty. So in order to put this down, I'm going to be forced to sweep and mop the area. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And then we have the larger project, which is the goldenrod wall hanging, which I love this project. Love this project. We got a couple snowballed corners, but I hate snowballing corners. But it looks like there's a couple of snowballed corners. I don't know. I didn't look at the pattern, but not too many of them. And it's just, I don't know. It's unique. I love this. Yeah, I can't wait to make this. I want to make this. But there's so many things I want to make, so I'm gonna have to figure it all out. I still have to press the fabric for the large project in the 12 days of quilting box. I haven't had a chance to do that. I know I'm not going to get a chance to sew it right now, but I at least wanted to get everything pressed and cut and ready to go so that I can sew it whenever I want. We have our thread, our Aurifil thread to match our project. We have our bonus fat quarter, which I am a fan of. This is probably my favorite piece of fabric in the entire box. Isn't that weird? In the entire box, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite piece. I'm a weirdo. I'm a weirdo. Okay. Yeah, I love this fat quarter. The first thing I saw when I opened the box were I saw a glimpse of this, and I saw a glimpse of this. So I saw the plaid. So I was like, oh, plaid. I mean, if you watch my channel, you know I love plaid, argyle, paisley, all those. I love all of those in my clothing and in my quilting. Stripes, I don't care. Polka dots, I don't care. But give me paisley, argyle, plaid. Love it. Houndstooth. Give it all. I want all of it. If I could let me find some decent houndstooth fabric, okay? Let me find some houndstooth quilting fabric. You don't see it a lot. And usually when you do, I don't really like it. Make a houndstooth quilt. They have a houndstooth quilt pattern. And I want to make that quilt. It's going to go on the list. All right. And then the bonus, not the bonus, the add-on, we have our 4 fat quarters from the Elysium line for Henry Glass. Clothworks. Sorry, Clothworks. Elysium. It looks almost navy on camera. Like, especially the polka dot, it looks almost navy. That had me questioning it. It looked almost like a dark navy, but it's not. It's a black, but it's not a flat black. So it's like black with gray hints. You can see it better on this fat quarter. You can see how you go from that dark black to that kind of more of a dark smoky gray. And some of that same shading is in this fat quarter as well. And the dots, the polka dots, aren't white. They're actually more like a cream color. So, well done, Clothworks. Well done. And the pattern, again, is, check it out, 60 by 77.5, uses 13 fat quarters and 2.5 yards of light fabric for background and binding. Now that's what I'm talking about. I like patterns that use fabric efficiently, you know? So I have whole books, quilt books, that I opened it up and I was like, I'm I'm not making any of this. It'd be like, get 40 fat quarters. And it's like, why do I need 40 fat quarters to make a twin size quilt? That is not an efficient use of fabric. There is another pre-cut I can use. So I guess my brain says, well, maybe the line that they designed had 40 fat quarters in it, so they used them all, right? But that's not financially sound to me. And that's a lot of leftover fabric. And I don't like leftover fabric. I don't like scraps. I really don't. So anywho, that is it for me, you guys. I am having a good time over here. I have talked way too long. This video is 30 minutes and that's ridiculous. So hopefully you didn't mind the multiple times I flubbed my words and the rambling and the digressing. That is it for me, and I'll see you guys next video.